Lovely and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports, and some horrible news for Sharks fans as their season continues to provide a lot of frustration, a lot of challenges, and a lot of obstacles as their Springboks star, arguably one of their best players this season, if not the best player this season, Eben Etzebeth, has officially undergone the knife. He has opted for surgery to fix a knee ligament issue and will not be involved for the next few weeks. It does sound like it's pretty minor, nothing too major. So as a Springbok fan, life seems to be, in theory, still pretty good. Looks like he will still be available for the start of the Springbok season. It sounds like it's going to be a matter of weeks, not months, for example, and we still do have plenty of months, given the fact our first test is in July. So plenty of time for him to get back and into full fitness. But if you're a Sharks fan, another setback, another obstacle, as I said, and just kind of the worst news possible. And this has been the frustration that has been echoed by John Plumtree, who has said that he's just not been able to pick the team, the squad, the pack that he was signed up to be able to do. So we're going to talk a little bit about what he had to say at his press conference, as well as sort of what the details are about the Eben Etzebeth injury, as well as some very good news when it comes to the lock department for Springbok fans. But before we do that, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Right, so this weekend the URC does return. Sharks versus the Stormers, a UXK derby and coastal derby this weekend. Lions taking on the Bulls at Emirates Airline Park. But in terms of the Sharks, they were missing quite a few players. First of all, sounds like Bongi Mnambi could be back this weekend, make his return from injury. However, there will be a couple of Springbok players who will not be available due to the fact that they've had to, as part of sort of the agreement with Springboks, they have to have a certain amount of rest. So it sounds like, for example, Chair, for example, will not be involved this weekend. It doesn't sound like Maximum Pimpy will be involved this weekend. We wait to hear on exactly what's going to happen with the likes of Jaden Hendrickse, Grant Williams. But the good news is that Lekanya for example, is set to play this weekend. Now, speaking on Eben Etzebeth, this is what John Plumtree had to say. He said Eben Etzebeth has started playing and now he's had a knee operation, so he'll only be back in a few weeks. So it's been a bit frustrating for me that I haven't been able to put out the kind of pack I wanted to, and I thought I'll be working with when I signed up. If I put out the pack I wanted to, it makes the bench a lot stronger, with fresh legs coming off the bench after 60 minutes. And he's not wrong. He's not wrong. He hasn't been able to go, Chair, Bongi Mnambi, and a Kuni Oosthuizen, for example, with Eben Etzebeth and like a Brand Krobler probably in the second row, and having the likes of a Jaden Hendricks next to a Currie Bosch with Yoma Pimpies and, a Dianti in form, for example, a Lekanya next to a Francois Fenter, with Passy at full back, and all the various Springboks that even some of them actually not even coming off the bench, for example, to add impact. So he's not been able to do that, and he's got a point about that. Personally, I'll still look at that Sharks squad, and you're going, take away the Springboks, it's still a ridiculously good squad. You still have the likes of Siko Mordinoche at your disposal when he's fit, Vintage Tuka when he's fit as well. So they have been hampered by injuries, but I still look at that squad and think that they've grossly underperformed this season, and this weekend it needs to be a big step forward. They need to find a way to try and salvage the season, because it's getting away from them, or it's gotten away from them, to be honest. I personally think the Challenge Cup remains their biggest hope at trying to salvage a decent season. You go and win that, for example, you get promotion into the Champions Cup, which I don't think getting it by the URC. It's a trophy, for example. It's a European trophy, so it's not a trophy that they've ever won before. So that's going to be something that I think they'll very much target, but obviously not having somebody like an Eben Etzebeth, for example, Bongi Mnambi just coming back from injury, certain players having to rest certain times. It is slightly hamstring, but that's also kind of what you get. If you're going to go and sign all these Springbok players, you have to be aware about the fact that there is this sort of agreement with SA Rugby that they do have to rest and that you do have to give them time off, So that's why it's about finding that squad depth, finding those different type of players that you can rely on when your Springbok stars aren't around. And, for example, that's not something that the Lions have to contend with, because they just don't have Springboks. So they don't have to worry about, players having to rest at certain times, stuff like that. And it's really benefited them, because they can continue to pick their best side at all times, whilst, obviously looking to try and rest players where they can to try and keep them fresh. But if it's a big game, for example, they're not going to be mandated by SA Rugby to rest certain players because they don't have anybody in the current Springboks squad. So let me know what you think. How big of an absence is Eben Etzebeth for the Sharks? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve, and I'll chat to you soon.